Today, I'll be ranking every song from Coheed and Cambria's Vaxis to A Window of the Waking Mind, from the worst to the absolute best. Now, I already reviewed this album, but honestly, I've been listening to it basically non-stop since it came out, and I just thought it deserved another video. First things first, a shout out to one of my absolute favorite YouTube channels, the Talks A Lot Boys. They're the ones that I first saw do this style of video, where they take an album ranking every song from the worst to the best, and they do it much better than I will here, especially since there's 3 of them, so it's just fun to see them to get into heated debates and arguments about which song should go where, and it's especially fun to watch Kyle almost inevitably get outvoted by Tyler and Brennan. So I've been enjoying their content immensely. They've ranked every single song from every single album from Dance Gavin Dance up to date. They also have a couple of albums from Don Broco, Stan Atlantic. They have some reviews for Spirit Box album, Idola, Memphis Mayfire, State Champs, just a whole bunch of great bands, and so I definitely suggest checking them out if you like music, if you like any of the bands on that list. They're just such great guys and personalities, just to see their discourse and their takes on the different music. I've been really enjoying them. So if you like this, I'm going to link them down in the description, because this is kind of their idea that I'm ripping off in a way, and so I want to push as many people over to their channel because they do it much better, like I said, and they're currently also really doing well with the reaction videos that Tyler's been putting out for new singles that have been dropping from many different bands here in 2022. So definitely a small channel that I think deserves a lot more followers. So if you like music, if you like any of these alternative rock or metal, or anything in the kind of they cover a whole swath of different musics and genres, but if you like any of that, or it sounds interesting to you, check out the Talks A Lot Boys. Once again, I'll link them down in the description. Okay, let's dive into the song ranking for Vaxis, Act 2, A Window of the Waking Mind. And first up, number 13, we have the song Bad Man. Now, Bad Man is the only song on the album that I would consider skipping during my listen through. When I first heard it, I really dug it, but one thing that stung out to me is that although I really like the verses, the chorus kind of exemplified that kind of a little bit of the Coheed cheesiness that came up for me for the Afterman albums, especially, where the lyrics just weren't as strong, or which is a little more quaint or cliched. And there's some other aspects of that in this album, but not to like the degree that I feel like Bad Man does it. Fun fact about the chorus on this album is that Claudio says that he wrote / came up with this chorus while he was high, and he was trying his best to do a Michael Jackson impression for this one. At least that's what I've heard. I saw it posted on the Coheed and Cambria Children of the Fence fan site on Facebook there. I thought that was pretty funny. Personally, it didn't work for me though. I think soberness works out a lot better for Coheed in terms of their songwriting. So it was a fun experimentation. It definitely has a bit of a different sound. My favorite part of this song personally is verse 2, where it has the callback to Unheavenly Creatures with the "Go on calling for your mother," and then it's got that little trill afterwards, that guitar trill just going down. It sounds so good. And the good boy follows all the rules. Yeah, it's good. I love the song. Like I said, it is the worst on the album, but it's by no means a bad song. It's just the chorus is what kind of brought it down for me. I still give this song a 7 out of 10. Pretty decent, and the only song that I have really any negative things to say. So it's all good from here on out. Starting in number 12, or rather continuing on with number 12, the song Our Love. This is a beautiful song, and the only reason it is at number 12 is just because it's barely 2 minutes long, and it's not an intro song, so it doesn't get the pass there in terms of like the length, but it's honestly, it feels perfect where it's placed in the album, how it leads. It's kind of a stepping stone into the epic, like 3 songs that finish off the album. But it's such a beautiful song. I could definitely see people playing this at a wedding. I think I mentioned that in my review. Like Coheed fans that are getting married, I would have loved to have this at my wedding, even though my wife's not a Coheed fan at all. But I got married in 2018, so that wasn't an option. But for people that are getting married 2022 or onward, I definitely think if you're a Coheed fan, this would be a great song to have a first dance to, or to have the bride walk into, or whatever, wherever. I think it just fits beautifully, and it's just such a beautiful love song that Claudio's wrote here. So it's a beautiful love song with a Coheed twist. It's an 8 out of 10 for me, and the next few songs are 8 out of 10 for me as well. I'll tell you when we bump it up. But the next song on the list, I think will be shocking for some of you. I think this is some people's favorite, or at least near the top. Definitely what I think is one of the catchiest on the albums. But number 11, The Liars Club, and so this is. Like I said, one of the catchiest songs. I think it might become one of the most popular songs from this album, just in terms of casual Coheed listeners, people that aren't diehard Coheed fans. They might listen to this album once and be like, oh, I really like that one. I'm going to put it on my 2022 listening list or whatever. And I totally get it. I think this song could actually play really well on an alternative rock station on the radio, and I would actually love that. I would love for Coheed and Cambria to get on the radio. Maybe they are in the States. I live in Canada, so I don't know. I definitely have never heard Coheed on the radio, but if anything was going to get on, I would think it would be this song, or maybe Blood or something. I don't know. Probably not Blood, but I could definitely see the Liars Club going on and actually doing really well in a mainstream setting. But that's not a knock against it at all. I really enjoy this song. Like I said, everything from 12 onwards, I absolutely love. I don't really have any negatives to say, other than it's just more of a generic, normal, strong structure. And that's fine. They do it really well. Like this song, when it came out as a single, I kind of was like, I don't love it, but I actually did a cover on it, a pretty bad cover, acoustic cover on my channel, just because I learned it in not 10 seconds, but as long as the song takes, I probably listened to it twice, and I just learned the basic chords from it, because it's not very complex. It's more complex on the album, but it's very simple, but it's so catchy. It's such a groove. I can see people it being way higher on your guys' lists, but for me, it's number 11. Just above that, at number 10, we have another single from the last single that they put out, Comatose. This song, it really grew on me over time, because I think when it came out, I only listened to it about 3 or 4 times in total before the actual album came out. So I wasn't too high on it. I thought it was fine. I thought it was more of the same with the Liars Club. After their first 2 singles, I actually really liked, and then these 2, they released in 4 in total. These 2, I just felt like a little more generic. The thing that elevates this slightly above the Liars Club for me is honestly Josh and Zach's work on, Josh's work on the drums and Zach's work on the bass. The rhythm and bass section often go together, and they really drive it on this one. It's just it's just so good. I can't replicate it just by my voice, but you just listen to that, and it's just it's so catchy. So another extremely catchy song. Has a little bit of language that they'd have to bleep out for the radio song, but it's the only song I think that has any explicit language on it. But it is such a bop, and I definitely think this could also probably do well on the radio. And I say it's not a knock against it. It just is a little more basic song structure for me than I usually look for in Coheed and Cambria, but still an excellent song, 8 out of 10. Next, at number 9, Blood. Initially, this song, I might have even mentioned in my review, was near the bottom of the barrel for me. But like so many songs on this album, it has grown on me immensely over subsequent listens. This is such a beautiful song with powerful lyrics, sung from parents to child. I think that is the perspective of Vaxis' parents singing to him. And so it's just such a beautiful song in that instance. I'm not a parent to a human child, but I have a little puppy who's sleeping here next to me, Arlo. And so, he's my little fur baby. I see him as my son. And he, this song, it gets me in the feels for that reason. And the instrumentation on this, even though it's a calmer song, this and Our Love are like the chill songs of the album, the kind of more laid back. But this one's, the instrumentation is just a little bit better. This one's a longer song. I think it's almost 4 minutes. So for this album, which had mostly like 3-minute songs, is a little tiny bit longer. But it's just beautiful. And for me, the lyrics, they fear what they don't know, and they'll be afraid of you for sure because you are my blood. It just gives me chills, honestly, listening to this song. So I bumped this song up just 0.5 above the ones that came before it. It's an 8.5 out of 10 for me. Really probably had the most growth over the whole album in terms of me re-listening and bumping it up the list. Next, number 8, we have The Embers of Fire. This is the intro song. It's only a minute and a half, which usually would be regulated to, bottom barrel, but I don't usually include the prologues or the intro songs to any of the Coheed albums in my rankings. If I eventually do a Coheed ranking albums or album by album review, I don't usually include Keeping the Blade or Second Stage Turbine Blade or The Ring and Return. Just to me, they're not real songs. They're just intros to the album. They work well in that capacity. I think the ones that do it best are probably The Reaping from No World for Tomorrow and what's the one from Afterman Dissension? But anyways, that one, I can't remember the name of it. It kind of has a ukulele intro, and it is a bit more of a song, and so this is kind of along the lines of that. But this, honestly, is the best intro to a Coheed album ever, in my opinion. It's so just beautiful, like the way I've been using that a lot, but it's unequivocally just great. If I was ranking the songs, albums, intros, this would be easily on the top by a large margin. It kind of goes hand in hand with I'll spoil my number 7 pick, Beautiful Losers, because in a regular album review I would probably just lump these two together in a ranking, and I actually am going to rate them the same, but together they work so great. Why is this so good though? It opens with the kind of little crackling fire embers, as the Embers of Fire title would suggest, but then not Claudio, but Atlas, his son, Chandra and Claudio's son Atlas. He opens it with the refrain from Old Flames. We all go up in flames, going out in style. And this little piano look of Old Flames from their previous album, which is kind of the motif of the whole Vaxis five-part series that's planned. There's first 2 parts are out now. And it was just like biggest smile instantly hearing Atlas on there, just following in his father's footsteps, and just like he's featured on this album. It's just so cool to me that he's featured on the album. And then it's followed up by the classic Coheed Nazgul stream. And I heard, and I think it could actually be Atlas doing the Nazgul stream. If that's true, that's even more epic, because it does sound a little bit different from their usual ones that they've done since Second Stage Turbine Blade. But it's so good. And then that goes into Claudio and just a sweeping orchestral opening with the We All Go Out in Flames refrain. And then that slides into the next song, Beautiful Losers, which is our number 7. So this song on its own, subjectively, it's a 9 out of 10. Objectively, I think it's still a 9 out of 10. Even though it's so short, it just is such a great album opener. And that's also what leads into Beautiful Losers. They kind of tie in perfectly. There's two times in the album where the songs like perfectly blend into one another. It could almost be one big song. This is the one that does it the best, and it's how it opens the album. So Beautiful Losers. I said Blood is the one that climbed the highest. Beautiful Losers is the one that climbed the highest, because when I first listened to this album, I was expecting that coveted number 2 track in Coheed to be the banger. I thought, they'll probably put Shoulders there or some other new song that really slaps hard. Like, this is the spot in Coheed albums where No World for Tomorrow is, where In Keeping Secrets of Silent Earth 3 is, where Domino the Destitute is, Sentry the Defiant, The Broken, like all of those are like, except for maybe The Broken is probably less known because it's on Year of the Black Rainbow, which people don't give enough love to. Those are absolute bangers, and in some cases like Domino the Destitute, and I would say probably for me, Century the Defiant. Both of the Afterman albums are not my favorite, but those are probably the highlights of the album for me. And so you start off your number 2 song being the highlight. Coheed didn't do that. Beautiful Losers, like I said, it's a 9 out of 10. There's still other songs that I think are above it. Just a smidge that I like more. I mean, this is only number 7, but still, like, that's how good this album is and how much it's grown on me. But anyways, so Beautiful Losers. It's not your typical chuggy heavy hitter, but it has some great lyrics, including my favorite from the bridge. The wrong side of courage in a toy box of phobias. Hook, line, and sinker. Time will bind, time will undo. But like 2 octaves up because it's Claudio. But that is, I love the toy box of phobias. Like, I don't know why, it's just so evocative. And like, I love when Coheed lyrics are like that. They're metaphorical in a sense. They're not just straight, straight. And then the time will bind, time will undo. I was just thinking of Time Consumer for some reason from Second Stage Turbine Blade. So this song, it just grows on me. And if any of you have watched Stranger Things Season 4, this has kind of become, in terms of like, what I've seen on the Children of the Fence fandom fan site, a lot of people are saying this is the Eddie Munson song, the character from Stranger Things Season 4, the Always Be My Hero. That is very relevant and elevates that song just even a little bit more. So this and Ember's Fire together are just chef's kiss, amazing opener to the album. It's a 9 out of 10 for me. Moving on to number 6. Number 6 is Shoulders. Now, Shoulders was the first ever single released by Coheed for this new album, and it was my most listened to song in all of 2021. I listened to this song so much. Oh, I got Alfalfa going again. Well, this is just a theme for this. I should actually probably do my hair and look presentable when I do these videos, but I refuse. I refuse to. Maybe next time I'll be a little more kempt rather than unkempt. So this was my most listened to song of 2021. Came in July of last year. So for like 6 months, I was just like, boom, bop into this song. And it's good. It's the heavy hitter. It's the spot. I thought this would take the number 2 spot, honestly. I thought this would be the one that's the No World for Tomorrow, because it's just a heavier banger. It's just a classic, even though it's a little different from the Coheed formula. I feel like the chorus just soars. The opening riff is phenomenal, and they have the Nazgul scream. Once again, they have it twice on this album, and this is just like, obviously it's Claudio this time with the Nazgul scream. It's just so epic. I love that one. And I've listened to this song so much that I'm honestly burnt out of it, but objectively I had to put it up here. It didn't quite make the top 5, but it is still a 9 out of 10. It's still, my second favorite single, because there's one I haven't mentioned yet on this album. But initially, it was my favorite. Even when the later one came out, this actually stayed as my number 1 for a little time until I just realized how great the other single was. So yeah, honestly, like I said, thought this would be the number 2 slot, maybe even take the number 3 slot on the track, like Welcome Home was for like the most popular Coheed and Cambria song ever, which people that don't even know Coheed and Cambria know that song from Guitar Hero and stuff. It's an epic 10 out of 10 song. So I thought maybe this would be in the number 3 spot. No, it's on the number 4 spot. This song is the Here We Are juggernaut of the album, because that is my favorite song from Year of the Black Rainbow, and it's on the number 4 track. So this one's on the number 4 track. So I guess that's the parallel. But like I said, I didn't mind that they changed up the formula in terms of how they usually order their albums, because it's a bummer to have your favorite song be the second and then you're like, oh, I guess I'll listen to the rest of the album, even if the album's really good. This album, I think, does it really well, and it honestly saves the best for last for the most part. That is number 6, and now we're getting into the top 5. My top 5 of this album. that are just amazing songs. So without further ado, number 5, Love Murder One. Love Murder One, I've woken up with this song literally in my head for the past couple of weeks now. Like it is the earworm of the album. I know Liars Club, I said, was probably the most popular, but this is the chorus of this song. I just keep on singing in my head. It's just so catchy. If you see me bleeding, leave me alone. I don't wanna live in this world anymore. Yeah, it's so good. The Love Murder One. I still don't know what the lyrics mean of Love Murder One and what the title means. And you know what? I don't care. I don't care what it means. But at the same time, if somebody knows the answer definitively, if it's Claudio said it somewhere, or if it's in the graphic novel or the comic or whatever. I don't know if it's a novel or graphic novel. Usually they're graphic novels, but please let me know, because I'm secretly dying to know what Love Murder One refers to. Is it a tennis match? A metaphor of a tennis match where it's like love stands for 0 and murder 1, so that doesn't quite make sense because it would be murder 15. Is it murder 1 as in murder in the first degree because of love, because love died, or what? I don't know. It's kind of ambiguous, but it doesn't matter. This song, it's heavily produced, it's electronic, and a lot of people are thrown off by both this one and my next one coming up. I think a lot of people, it's a love or hate scenario because it doesn't sound like classic Coheed, which bothers a lot of people. Me personally, obviously, I loved it. It's a 9 out of 10. It could run higher. I don't think it deserves higher than 9 out of 10. A lot of these are 9 out of 10s. I put a lot of 9s on here, but it is pretty tasty and pretty darn good. Number 4, A Disappearing Act. Have you ever wanted a Weeknd song like Blinding Lights, but it turns out when you look it up, it's actually by Coheed and Cambria? No, you never wanted that. You never asked for it. Nobody asked for that, and yet it's here. And I am also here for it, let me tell you, because it is so awesome. It is just like, I don't know, it's just, it works. It works for me. It didn't work for probably half of the fandom. I feel like this is the last Jedi for the Coheed fandom. I just spat a little bit, pardon me. But like in terms of the Star Wars fandom being like totally split on Rian Johnson's The Last Jedi, I feel like A Disappearing Act might be that as well, because I've seen so much love for it on the Coheed and Cambria fan site, and also so much hate for it. So you know what? I'm here for it, and I'm strongly on the side of, I absolutely love this song. It's so good. It may not be prog rock, but it's definitely a progression for the band. Some will say a regression for the band. It wouldn't apply actually, because Coheed's never done a song like this, never done an album like this. Closest thing is the Prize Fighter Inferno album in City Introvert, which is Claudio's like side project that he does, which is all electronic pretty much. And they really experiment there. I feel like they brought in a little bit of that to Coheed, but you know what? I love it. I love it so much. It's so funky. It's so funky, so fresh. It actually is. And the bridge in this song is just, it's one of those lyrics that's gonna stick with me. It goes, a world in limbo, waking, opening up, a world in limbo, waiting to open for us. And it just continues that, repeats that a few times. I just love those lyrics. I don't know what it is about it. Same with Love Murder One. This one is a little more obvious to know what it means, but it's still kind of ethereal. It's otherworldly. It feels epic, space opera. It's so cool. And so it's one of those Coheed lyrics that sticks in my head, and I will instantly recognize and go, that song freaking slaps. It's another 9 out of 10, baby. It's beautiful, and it's probably the song I'm going to be covering next on my album, on my channel here when I get to. I've been a little bit sick lately, so I can't really sing. Not that I can sing well anyways, but this one I really want to play. I've already learned the guitar again by ear. It's not that complicated in terms of what I'm doing, because most of it, like I said, it is very electronic focused, and so just the basic chords and the opening lick, I've got it down. I just have to learn the lyrics off by heart. other than obviously the bridge, which I've totally memorized. But A Disappearing Act, it's number 4. It's just outside of the top 3. And the top 3, if you haven't already deciphered it by now, that's also the last 3 songs on the album, because Coheed just decided we're gonna drop all of the best songs in just the last 3. And you know what? This is reminiscent of the Willingwell series. You know, it's reminiscent of the Incomplete series. It's reminiscent. Actually, it's better than the Incomplete series because I don't love every song on the Incomplete series. Hot take. I'll tell you more about that when I do No World for Tomorrow. But it's like the, you know, it didn't end the album, but it's like the Valorium Camper or Camper Valorium. Those 3 songs. That's what this is to me. It's not numbered in that way. It's not doing that. But literally, one, like Ladders of Supremacy is the first one there. It's not the next on the list, but it's the next one. That goes directly into Rise of Nation. I said the first 2 songs on the album, they flow into each other. The intro goes into The Embers of Fire, goes into Beautiful Losers, and Ladders of Supremacy, it doesn't really end before Rise of Nation begins, and it, like I said, Rise of Nation just goes off, and so I love that. It's basically like a 10-minute song. They're 11, 12-minute song because Rise of Nation I think is 5 minutes and Ladders is 6. But without further ado, my top 3, number 3 spot, Rise of Nation, Cut the Cord. Hands down the greatest single that Coheed and Cambria released for this album. It starts out at a breakneck pace. There is no chill. There's no warning. And it just goes off. I just love it. You know, hell wakes you up and you feel so afraid. It is my place. I don't know what to say. Am I okay? Fear, boy, you own it. And it keeps going. It's way better than that on the album, obviously, because I'm a terrible singer. But it's so good. It just like starts and it doesn't let up. The only thing I would say, the thing that keeps it from being perfection is that opening, and that first verse is my favorite part of the song. And the rest of it is just awesome, you know? The first part is just immaculate perfection, and the rest of the song is just pure awesomeness, but not quite a 10 out of 10. I give this song a 9.5 out of 10. I imagine this song is exhausting to play live because that riff that just really gets going, like it repeats throughout the whole song except for the chorus and the bridge. And I was like, oh, I want to cover this song because I love it so much. But 1, it doesn't sound very good on acoustic, at least the way I play it. And 2, it's just like, it's so tiring. And plus I have to sing at the same time. I have no, as you can tell from these videos, I don't have any editing skills or any video maker on. I probably gotta do that later on so I have some production value. But anyways, I was just like, you know what? I need to get an electric guitar for this. I need to do the vocals separately. I need to do the guitar on its own, and it still would be bad. So, I just gonna leave it to Coheed and Cambria with their epic single, and the placement on the album, the second to last song. It's just so good, and it just elevates it even more. 9.5 out of 10, like I already said. It is peak Coheed to me. Okay, number two. Number two was instantly my favorite song on the album when I heard the album. It was my number 1, and honestly, it kind of still is. I'm thinking this actually is subjectively my number 1, while objectively I have to give it to the last song on the list. Not going to say what it is, but of course everybody knows by this point. But Ladders of Supremacy is like, it's like the Willingwell saga from Good Apollo Volume 1 and the Dark Sentencer from the last album, Unheavenly Creatures. They got together, they had a baby, and out popped Ladders of Supremacy, and that is the biggest compliment I can. It might surpass those songs, or at least some of those songs. There's 4 songs in the Willingwell saga. It's just so good. It's prog rock to the max. And when Claudio sings the "Stay down, boy, see you got clown, boy," it sounds 1,000 times better than that. Actually, that was the worst thing I could have done for it. It doesn't do it justice. But he says, "The stay down, boy, see you got clown, boy," and then the climbing up the ladders of their supremacy. Was it everything you had dreamed? That's like the last little part of the song. Oh man, those are the highlights of the album for me. And please listen to the song because and just scrub what I just sang out of your mind and out of your memory. It's just so epic. Like there's no other way to describe it. I've used that word far too often, but it is like this is Claudio said this is kind of like it's inspired by Star Wars. It's like his comics or whatever. They're like in space, they're futuristic, it's in his fantasy realm, and you feel that this is the journey. Like this is just you just close your eyes and you just take it in. It has like a long 2-minute intro that's just amazing, just guitar work and like instrumentation, so many layers, and then it comes in with the lyrics in Claudio's voice, which is a love it or hate it voice, and obviously everybody that loves Coheed loves his voice so much, and he's just top of his game here. It's just so good. It's obviously a 10 out of 10. It is a 10 out of 10 for me. There's nothing I could do to improve this song or that I could think of that would make it better. The only reason it is objectively number 2 is because Window of the Waking Mind, number 1, baby. It is undoubtedly just, it's like 7 or 8 different songs or 5 different songs at the very least. It's just one of those things like 2113 or like what are the other ones, like Light in the Glass, even, where it doesn't repeat it. Light in Glass repeats. This song, I don't think it repeats any of the sections that it has. There's no chorus to this. It's a prog rock song, baby, and it just keeps going and it keeps changing. It starts out like super ethereal and chill, just acoustic guitars and some beautiful choir music, a little slow electric licks, just like I call this the time section. That's the first lyric. It also ends with that lyric, but it changes a little bit by the end. So it has that first very chill section, and then we get the exposition section. The cars, it's like it's boom, it's picking up, it's going strong. We get the narrator's voice where it's telling us a little bit of the story in more detail, and then that goes into the like tappy section where the guitars are just going off. It's still clean, like not that much distortion on this, but like it's there's distortion in the background, but the tappy section's like just a clean sounding guitar. We're getting deeper into the story. You feel the epicness just building and building. And then we get our Pride and Joy section and the Vaxis Can You Hear Us section, which is just kind of like, the parents again speaking to their child, helping that he's waking up from his dream. He's got like these crazy cognitive abilities, basically like Professor X or something. I don't know. I haven't read the comic. That's the idea I get him. He's like 11 from Stranger Things. He's got like these crazy mind powers or whatever, but he's just a little child. And so they're saying, Vaxis, can you hear us? Can you see us? They're talking to their son. And then the next section is like the bringing the baby home section, and it's like, I'll bring you home, a perfect child, or whatever it is. It's so good, and it's just like, you're just like getting all of the emotions and all of the epicness before going into the penultimate like dancey It's Okay to Cry section, and then that ends with the time, and then it kind of goes, and then it goes back into the Old Flames reprise, which the album begun with, and which obviously referenced the Unheavenly Creatures, and that prologue started with the Old Flames reprise, which makes this album a perfect like circle. Like you can listen to the Old Flames reprise, and then it goes into Embers of Fire, and you get it again. It's just so easy to listen to this album on repeat because of that reason. This is obviously, it's a 10 out of 10. It is objectively, I think, the best album on the song, but honestly, 1 and 2, Window and Ladders, are interchangeable. I think personally, Ladders. That leaves this album with a revised overall score of I've been ranking the songs individually. So initially on my review, I think you get 8.5 out of 10, but now it's a very, very very on brand for Coheed. This is a never ender upon a never ender, second stage turbine reference there. It is two slices of infinity side by side. it is an 8.8 for Vaxis Act 2, A Window of the Waking Mind. An 8.8 out of 10, which lands this pretty dang high on my ranking for Coheed albums. If you want to see me rank the other Coheed albums, I will do so. My goal for each of my videos is just to get one solitary like. It's a very low bar, I know, but mainly I just do this because I love Coheed. I'm so excited, I'm so satisfied, I'm so stoked that 20 years into their career as Coheed and Cambria, Second Stage Turbine Blade, their first album as this band came out in 2002, and it's 2022 now, which is crazy. To have such an amazing record like this, it just, what else could you ask for as a Coheed fan? Personally, I'm glad I loved it. I've seen some Coheed fans on Children of the Fence saying they really didn't like this album because of all the electronic influences and prizefighter inferno-ness that can come with it. But hey, man, I'm sorry for those people. I'm sorry you didn't love it as much as I did. It's all art is subjective, but you know, also objectively there's some that's better than others, and I think this has a good mix of like very new and then songs like Ladders of Supremacy and Window of the Waking Mind that are new but also old, reminiscent of like the epicness of Second Stage, of, you know, in Keeping Secrets of Silent Earth 3, of Good Apollo Volume 1 of from Fear of the Eyes of Madness, and even No World for Tomorrow, which I don't think is as good as those three. But that's for the album ranking, which I'll do sometime in the future. Anyways, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this in-depth song ranking, and have a lovely day. I will see you next time. And once again, check out Talks a Lot Boys if you like any of those bands, or if you just want to hang out with three cool dudes as they discuss their album breakdowns in this. Much more interesting, much more back and forth between the three guys. I'd love to have somebody else that I know that loved Coheed or loved my taste of music that I could banter back with, but we'll see, maybe one day. Anyways, take care. Talk to you later.